It is 12 o'clock straight up. A little after. Sorry about that. Okay, thank you again for staying. I love it that you all come to these really just so consistently now for 7 years. That is amazing, right? That's just amazing. So thank you for that. So on behalf of the board and the staff, I just wanted to give you a quick recap of the financial end of year 2025. The last time that we talked about this, we didn't have the end of year financials all finished up, but they are complete now. So we had such a challenging year at the beginning of 2025, and so the story of how it has ended is just so important for us to celebrate, I think. So Jorge, if you will advance us to the next slide. I hope you can see some of this because I want to give you a recap first to remind you where we were. So we were, nope, we skipped a slide, I think. Go back. Okay, all right. So, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. So at our congregational meeting in 2024, you'll recall that we approved a deficit budget. That is almost unheard of to do, but this congregation decided that the investment we'd made in a young adult minister in JT, that we'd not quite been able to operationalize was still worth that investment and for us to hang in there for another year. Now, a deficit meant we had to borrow money from ourselves. And so we agreed, and you'll see it detailed here, that we would vote on a $34,000 deficit for the first 6 months. And then at the 6-month mark, we would revisit that to see what the last 6 months might bring, because we were hopeful at that point that our land sale would have gone through by then. That did not happen, but I'm happy to report that that first 6 months, we only had to use $26,000 that we borrowed from ourselves instead of the $34,000. So on some level, maybe in a weird kind of way, with preacher math, we did better than we thought we'd do. So it was really kind of good news, right? And by then, we also knew that the land was not going to sell mid-year last year, or it was going to sell, but it wasn't going to sell in 2025. However, by then, we'd also been blessed with some amazing things, and you see those at the last bullet point there. We received some ERC funds. You heard Doug talking about that at the generosity moment today. We also got a good faith installment on the land sale that was given to us without penalty by the buyer. That, too, is almost unheard of. That is not anything they had to do. It was not a requirement at all, but they decided because they'd had so many delays trying to get to closing that they would go ahead and give us a good faith installment on the purchase. So then we also got the rental income from the Mangrove School, which at the beginning of 2025 we knew nothing about. And now you look out here on our property and it's just lovely, isn't it? So it's not just that it's great income, but that we just love having them here. And can you believe it that there are 8 tiki huts out there and you have to search for them? That's how lovely they fit into the land and the landscape. So those things allowed us to do very well in the last 6 months of the year. So we were able to meet all of our obligations and not have to borrow any more money from ourselves. So we ended the year still owing ourselves $26,000. So I want you to know that at our board meeting this month, which is the third Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m., the board will be talking about how we want to pay that money back. One possibility that we have tossed around is that the buyer for our land because it looks like it's going to be May or June when we go to closing for the sale of the land. They have continued to pay us installments every month just out of good faith to say we're getting there, we're getting there. One of the things we'll be talking about is taking some of those installments and paying ourselves back. I would expect by the time we get to the land sale in May or June, we will be fully whole with the money that we borrowed from ourselves, and that we'll be able to be free and clear as we receive the proceeds from the sale of the land. I need you all to be really happy about this because in my opinion, this took some incredible faith for us to hang that first 6 months last year and for us to trust and to be faithful. And look what happened when we did, right? So I'm so proud of you and so happy that we find ourselves here. Any questions about this recap of 2025? Yes, Jim. Wait. Letitia's coming with a microphone. We want to be sure our online people can hear.
I remember that a few years ago when people would use our facilities like Pierce Hall, we could not accept a rent payment, but we could accept a donation. Has something changed that we can get rent now on the school property?
I'm going to let Collis answer that question.
Yeah, that designation, two things happen. First, part of that was how we report the money to the denomination. And so we have to declare it as rent money to them so that they understand all of our income, right, that's coming in. So that's a piece of it. But there was a new law passed around schools and churches that does take care of some of that issue that we had previously, allowing churches more freedom to be able to receive funding for private schools or schools that are charter type schools. And so all of that has been passed through the legal channels that need to in the state of Florida.
Good question. Thanks. Any other questions? If you had a question, what would it be?
If I had a hammer.
All right. Yeah. Letitia's getting her steps in.
I know that every month our treasurer, our accountants, Barb, does a really nice job with some dashboards that show where we are, income, expenses, budget. And I'm just wondering if those will be posted where people in the congregation can see them. I know we used to put a lot on the internet that we're not anymore on our website. We back some of that off. But I'm just wondering how we communicate that year-end financial statement to the masses.
I believe that as part of the minutes of the board, that those are on the website. So it's under, okay, he's saying he doesn't think so. Can you?
What we have right now is just the minutes. Now, the minutes do talk about some of the reports, like the report coming from the Finance Committee and whatnot, but we don't have the actual numbers. And if that is something that people find helpful, we definitely can post those. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, is that something you all
Absolutely.
would like to have access to? Because it's on the website. We could put them on the website. It's
Yeah.
certainly not a secret, and all of you are always invited to board meetings where you could also see them.
they
So.
Yeah, we'd encourage people to come to the board meetings and, find out what's going on.
Right, and if any of you want any type of financial information that's going through the board, you can also reach out directly to me and I can provide that anytime you want it. If there's a question that you have, everything we are doing is transparent, and we're happy to do that. So, Doug, I just want to clarify that if we move forward, we're looking at those
The dashboard.
dashboard slides. So those are the highest level that we do or that we capture. It gives you an idea about overall income, overall expenses. It will not be the line item budget information. If you want deeper than that, we can certainly pull that report at any.
On the website, if you don't know where to find the minutes, on the website, you've got those little lines on the top right-hand side. If you hit those and then under Home and under About Us and under Board, and if you scroll up, you will see board minutes that you can click on.
Great, thank you. That was our treasurer. She knows where all the financial information is. This is good. This is good, thank you. All right, any other questions? All right, so you can see this tees us up well for 2026. You also heard from Reverend Collis last weekend that we had a really good January, and so we started by being a little bit above our budget in January in terms of plate offering. So this is all good news, so the momentum seems to be with us, and I'm going to say it again, probably ad nauseum, because I don't want you to ever forget that faithfulness and consistency and trusting God is not a joke. That we have watched it. We have watched how God has blessed us in ways we could not have ever imagined. And so we need to keep this. Okay, one final slide, but before you put that up there. So really three, but one you kind of already know about. We received from the Susan Terry Foundation. I'm sorry, I'm jet lagged, so I may just say who knows what. Susan Terry Foundation, who gave us a $25,000 grant to rebuild our AIDS Memorial Garden. So the group that is working on that, we met for the first time a few weeks ago, and so that is underway, and we expect to dedicate that memorial garden on World AIDS Day this year, 2026. So that's going to be a big celebration. We're expecting to have some major guests here to help us celebrate this, and I hope a lot of our community will also join us, so that's going to be big. We also received a memorial gift from Richard Henry, a longtime member of this church who died recently. And he left us about $8,000 with a specific request that he gave to me before he passed, which is that we do some really needed enhancements to this memorial garden where people can inter ashes, where we also spread ashes out here, and for it to just be, he had a vision in his own mind that this should be a place where people would be able to come and just sit and reflect and be with their loved ones who had passed. And it's a beautiful garden already, but it's in the sun so much that sitting out there most of the year is actually not a very pleasant experience. And that there were some things we could do that would actually make this a much more lovely place where people would want to come. And with that money, we will be able to easily do some very, very important enhancements out there. So thanks to Richard Henry. And then I'll say a little, but I'm going to have Reverend Collis come up. We are so delighted that the Mangrove School has already approached us about a much longer term lease for the school. So I'll let Reverend Collis talk about that.
Yeah. We kind of started this out not knowing what was going to happen. This was a new venture for us. Certainly here at the church, it was new for them. And I am so grateful that they came to me 3 months ago and said, we want to start talking long-term commitment. I said, hold on a minute. That's not what I do. No, I'm just kidding. No, they have really enjoyed being here. They feel a special call to this place, to this land, and it is extraordinary. They said, well, how do you feel about 5 years? We'd like to sign a 5-year lease with you. And I said, okay, let me see what I can come up with. I don't even know how to structure that. So we've met again a couple of times, and so here's what we're planning on. Right now, they're looking at some numbers from their side around their anticipated enrollment. Currently, we have 60 as their enrollment. 60 will be their bottom line number that they have. That's the goal. And they're looking over time to increase that by double. Now, that may not happen in 5 years, but that's the ultimate goal for them. So that takes a lot of steps for them. So from the financial side, what we agreed upon was that we would have a base level of 60 students at their current level of rent. And then based on their head count of enrollees once per year, we will evaluate that in September, the beginning of their year. And based on that number, we have a percentage increase based on the number of students. That seemed to be the most equitable thing to do. We could come up with a number and put it out there and that not work for them, therefore not working for us. So we decided we would do it based on their enrollment annually. And they have a cap of around $7,000 a month that we're going to call for over the 5-year period. It would never go. So right now, they're at their baseline of 35, and every year we assess that enrollment moving up. 3,500. So they are in agreement with that, and we're just trying to finalize some addenda to the lease around joint usage. We all agree that it is critically important that we know exactly what we can do and they know what they can do now that we've been in this for a minute, right? So for example, let's say, Dar, you have some family members coming in from out of town and you want to use one of the tiki huts to have a picnic, right? We want on our end, what do we need to do to make sure that that's okay? And how do we need to make sure that we follow what they need us to do? They feel the same way about us and our spaces. And so it's a very cooperative agreement that we have and the way that we manage. And I'm just going to say that at least once a week, I look out the window where I walk across here. This past week, it was on Wednesday. There's a little group of about 5 little girls out here going, I don't know what they were doing, but they were just jumping and having a grand old time. And I literally get emotional to see these children growing and having fun and having the freedom that they have here to be able to come and become humans with us and with this land and integrated. And so I want to say thank you all for being willing to go on this journey with us. And I encourage you all to come. Just come one day, bring your lunch, and sit out here in the courtyard and just listen, because you will be blessed just by hearing their little voices or by seeing them jump up and down in a circle, right? So, but again, any questions about the lease itself and what that means, I'll meet you. I got you. Don't worry. You just stay on back.
Mine's not so much about the lease, but I'm curious, how do they have their classes when it's been really cold like we've had with the howling wind?
Yeah, so younger level kids tend to get more shelter than the older, but they know it's a part of the agreement that they are to come layered. I mean, they come bundled up in onesies with hoods and blankets, and I mean, mittens, the whole nine, they have it all. And when they need relief, they come in here. Sometimes we'll come in, there'll be a circle of kids here, or there'll be some back there, some in Pierce Hall, right? But yeah, and they always ask permission. You know, is everything okay for us to use the building today? Same thing for other inclement weather. If it's really rainy, most rain doesn't bother them. They actually have fun in the rain, like we used to do when we were kids. Do y'all remember that? Yeah. And then if there's lightning, they automatically come inside. Okay?
I just wanted to say thank you, Collis. I think we need to do that all. Um, I know that there were other people involved, but almost single-handedly, she has made this happen. And she has negotiated, and it was her idea of the revenue based on enrollment, which I think is a fantastic idea and fair to all. So thank you, among everything else that you're doing, making this happen.
It's an honor, honestly. This kind of work is an honor for me.
The amount of people that showed up for their open house on Saturday, because we were here working in the gardens, it was unbelievable. And the people who came were absolutely enthralled with the way the program runs. So I
Yeah.
see their numbers going up pretty quickly.
I do too. I do too. I think this expansiveness is what they needed. They were really confined where they were before to a much smaller area, and it's just opened so much up for them.
Just quick question, Collis. Do they take vouchers?
They do.
Okay.
Yes, they are a voucher school as well. And they do have a couple of scholarships. They're private funds as well, so.
That was going to be one of my questions about the scholarships or the opportunity. The opportunity, maybe grants or anything like that as far as the school goes. Is there anything right now that we could assist them with or that anyone could assist them with?
Yeah, Robin, thanks. That's something I talk with them about monthly. What can we do for you all? What is it we need from us? They've been really busy trying to get things set and settled, for the first half of the year. And I think this whole first year is going to be kind of like that, honestly. I can see us getting more and more involved the longer they're here, especially in that type of venture, Robin. And I've let them know that we are eager. We're ready to get involved as much as we can. So we're already planning out some things for next year as well. So it's as soon as I know about those opportunities, you will be the first folks who know.
Would it be possible for them to have an open house so that we here could find out what's going on, what their program is?
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It is. Interestingly enough, their administrator and I talked about that last week, about how do we get introduced to you all a little bit more. And so we've already, thank you. Yeah, we're teeing up those kinds of things right now. So it's been pretty seamless for us around getting them here, and I do think we need to get to know them a little bit more. All right.
Okay, so I think it's also important to remind us as well that that the children at the Mangrove School made an origami art piece with the
yes.
names of all the trans people who were killed in 2025 because of hate. And so they are engaging in our values, and we with them in that way. So, I mean, I don't know if I ever thought there'd be such a day, so I just think we need to honor that day, that it's here, and it was just such a special thing that they were willing to do. So we're growing kids who are compassionate and accepting, and I don't know if it gets any better than that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Amen. Amen.
We got a question.
Normally, I don't talk at these kind of meetings, but I have a request to the board and the staff. If you please will consider continuing the deacons. I've been here since 2000. We've always had deacons helping and working. We only have Susan and Ben left. They worked hours and hours, very hard work. Sometimes no thank yous, no nothing, not from anybody particular, but we usually have 6, and we could use more help. If you three on the staff wouldn't want to train them, Susan and Ben could take in another 3 or 4 and train them for you, whatever you want. But I hope you'll consider and continue the deacons.
Okay, let me tell you about that. In 2023, so 2 years ago, right about now, we ran a training program for deacons, current and anyone who was interested. I believe we had 7 people. And at the end of that, the group together, so Susan is my witness, decided that deacons is not who they wanted to be, that they wanted to be caregivers, and they would do some different things that would help, like, you know, there still help with setting up communion. Dar, you were there too, you know. So this was a decision by the group, not by me or the staff. So I feel like that's going okay. Is there something I need to hear from you about that's not going okay? Is there something that's not going okay? Because I believe that they all feel fine with that.
No, it's just something personal that I've been around all these years. I've enjoyed, I appreciated, and they do a lot of work. And every week, the 2 of them are up there doing communion, and it seems like we could use more. Maybe the next week, those 2 could sit down, 2 others could help, but that's up to the staff and the board. I'm just asking to consider the continuance of it. Maybe then there was only 7, they decided not to do it. Maybe now other people would change their mind.
Okay.
I just want to kind of make a point of information that the deacons are ministry. And as ministry, then they're under the senior pastor as head of staff, whereas the board is governance, and we don't deal with ministry. So the board would not be involved in those kinds of decision-making, but that is Lily's decision as the head of staff, okay? So I think a lot of times we get those confused, but ministry's under her. Governance, rules, you know, policies, that's under the board, okay?
All right. Huh? Is there a question? Oh, Ben.
Vaughn, to your question, I just want to thank Reverend Lily. She is trying to get others involved in setting communion. She knows that we're trying. I had today talked to Reverend Lily that I'll continue to do communion until they find necessary help. Right now, Ricky has learned how to set up communion, but Ricky is involved in hospitality. So because we're short in different areas, Reverend Lily is trying to find help so that way we have people setting up communion.
Just a quick question. Setting up of communion, does it take a deacon to do that, or is it someone trained?
Sorry, no, it does not.
So we could train people maybe to set communion, right? So if we have volunteers that are willing to learn our facility and our setup, then they could do that without becoming a deacon as well, right?
Yes.
And I'll say all the volunteers for worship are coordinated through me, typically. So if anyone would like to read, would like to be an usher, would like to learn how to set up communion, would like to hospitality. How many of y'all like to eat after church? Right? Okay, so if you say you like to eat, how about when it's your time to serve? Come to me. I will go through what we need to get you ready to do what you need to do and get you plugged in. Okay?
All right. Okay, thank you.
Yes, ASL, if you know ASL.
Yeah, we need, yep.
Yes.
We need help there too. All right. Are there any other questions? So I want to close out with a reminder that this is going to be a very big year for us because we're We're getting off to a good financial start. Our pledge campaign was excellent. I do believe we will close on the land sale in May or June. And we have also set up our budget for an external focus this year, as well as continuing our internal focus. And so a lot of things are going to unfold this year. And thank goodness, because there's a lot happening out in the world that needs our attention. And so I just want to thank you that over this 7 years of my ministry here, that you all have hung in there through a pandemic, through some tough years of coming back from the pandemic and having lost a lot of people. We lost 14 people to death through the pandemic. And then how everything just shifted about church, really. And that you've just hung in there and been willing to try new things, been willing to see the world a different way, to see church a different way. That was a big ask. And I just want to thank you for trusting me and trusting the staff and trusting yourself mostly, that there were important things for us to do in our city here. That's right. And I'm just so grateful to you for continuing to say yes, 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 and to do stuff that other churches are simply not doing. And so that makes our call even louder and stronger. So thank you so much. It's my honor to serve you.
And I'm going to take a pastoral privilege. If you will have a seat right here, ma'am. And I'd like to invite all the board members to come up. Anniversaries are times to bless people. And today we're going to bless us, lay on the hands. If you're in the crowd, you can extend your hand. God, we thank you for leadership, for the leadership of Reverend Elder Lily Brock, for what she brings to us, not just in the amazing way that she leads and preaches, but in who she is, because who she is the very heartbeat of you. God, your heart and hers are so entwined that she knows exactly what steps we need to take and how we need to get there. And when she's not real sure, you've surrounded her by a group of people who can help her. And God, we just ask that you will continue to bless her ministry, bless all that she does, and God, continue to give her the strength, give her the health, give her the endurance, or as I like to call it, stick-to-itiveness, to stay here with us. God, you are so evident in this, your servant. And she doesn't have to wait to hear, well done, because we all know that it is true. Thank you for another year of ministry, God. Thank you for another year of us having her lead us. In all of your many names, in the name of Jesus the Christ, amen and amen.